Hello, and welcome to Shameless Plugs, reading, writing, relentless self-promotion.
Shameless plugs!
J. George, as always, along with Samantha the writer, and we're going to be talking about exactly what we said, reading, writing. More so than most episodes, today is really all about reading and writing.
Coming off the high of the Halloween episode,
Yes.
we decided we needed to celebrate something new.
Yes, and this is a good thing to celebrate. This episode is mostly, almost entirely, about National Novel Writing Month, which, if you have not heard of this...
which I hadn't, until Jay or George brought it to my attention.
Yes, and I knew about it, but I had never actually participated in it. But National Novel Writing Month is a month where there's actually a nonprofit organization called National Novel Writing Month. You can find them at nanowrimo.org. NaNoWrimo.org. Yes. It is a 501c3 nonprofit. I don't know why I bothered to go into the IRS designation there, but I did, so that's on the record now.
In case you didn't believe that they were actually a nonprofit.
Yes.
So, now you know.
Yes. So anyway, the purpose of this month is thanks to this nonprofit, the month of November. The goal is to start writing on November 1st, and by 11:59 p.m. on November 30th, have written 50,000 words of a novel. I think it's a really cool idea. I don't think it's a perfect idea, but I really love the spirit of the month, and I think both of us have signed kind of some... I don't want to go so far as to call them issues, but we have maybe some, disagreements with the end goal.
Yeah, and I think what that stems from is just the fact that writing is personal, regardless of whether or not you're doing fiction, nonfiction, essay, comic, whatever genre you're writing in, it's personal. So, yeah, you can have a contest where you have to fit yourself into a certain box, or you can have rules that you're supposed to follow, but I feel like the best part about writing is if you fall a little short, or if you have to change the process, that doesn't mean that you're a terrible writer and you will never be published.
Right.
It's about channeling who you are as a writer. We're going to go all yoga for a second.
Yeah.
It's about channeling your inner writer and letting it out. I'm doing elaborate hand gestures.
She is doing elaborate hand gestures. She nearly struck me.
I finished my tea early this morning, and it had caffeine in it.
Okay. I'm running on about 4 hours of sleep right now, so I'm in a slightly different place than Samantha the writer is today. But anyway, I agree. Writing is a very personal thing. With that said, and I'll get into kind of some of my things with it, because again, I don't want to call them issues, because I love the concept of this month. I love the idea of dedicating a month to people putting themselves on the page. I love that idea, so I really don't want to sound like I'm tearing this down, but there are some things that I don't love about it.
And so all of our listeners know we are both participating in this month because we do love it, and we do think that it is a great thing. So we're both participating. We're just tweaking the parameters.
Yes, we're tweaking the parameters, and although I am in no way any official connected whatsoever with NaNoWrimo, and I am going to refer to it as NaNoWrimo every single time I talk about it.
National Novel Writing Month.
Yes. Although I am in no way affiliated with it, I want to give all you writers out there, especially those of you who have never tried to write a novel, who maybe this is your first exposure to writing a novel, I want to give you the permission to do your own thing with this month. Again, in no way actually affiliated with the organization.
Not at all.
But to get to Samantha's point, I think that because writing is a personal thing, trying to get 50,000 words down on the page in 1 month for a lot of people really isn't realistic. And I think that at the end of the month, it could end up being more frustrating than productive for them. And I'm going to go back 2 episodes on our show to the whole plotter pantser conversation.
Because that's our favorite.
Yes, it is our favorite. But I'm a plotter. Sitting down and writing 50,000 words in 1 month absolutely just does not work for me. At the end of that month, I am not going to have anything that I am going to be able to use. And that's just because it doesn't fit my writing style. So I'm not going to be trying for any specific word count for this month. In fact, I may not write a single word of actual fiction from my novel during this month. I'm still going to be participating. I'm going to be writing, maybe not every single day, but the vast majority of days I'm going to be writing. But for me, National Novel Writing Month is going to be spent outlining. It's going to be spent figuring out the plot for my novel because, I do like to do that detailed plotting. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be spending the month, I'm going to be working on a novel. I will have made great strides by the end of the month on a second novel. It's just that I'm not going to have any actual words for the page. It's going to be character sketches for me. It's going to be outlining plot. It's going to be setting descriptions and setting research. So NaNoWriMo, because I'm not allowed to use the full word.
Man.
NaNoWriMo, so close. NaNoWriMo for me is going to be about the building blocks for my next novel, not actually writing my next novel.
I like the fact that that's your goal, because I feel like that fits more to who you are as a writer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like if you sat down and were like, I'm going to write 50,000 words, I'd be like,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You're going to do that?
Do
you have an outline?
Yeah.
Do you know who your characters are?
Yeah.
I mean...
I wouldn't get 4,000 words by the end of the month, because the problem is that if I did try to sit down and totally pants, short fiction, I can be a pantser. If I'm doing a 1,000-word story, a 500-word story, I can absolutely be a pantser. I recently was one, if you listened to our last episode, the latest story on my site, a total pantsing novel. Or, not novel, short story, I mean.
500-word novel.
Yes, 500-word novel. I can be a pantser if I'm doing short fiction, but if I tried to sit down and actually write 50,000 words in a month, I would just edit. I would write 200 words, and then I would spend an hour editing it. I would get so bogged down in the editing process that it just would not work for somebody like me. That just does not fit my writing style at all. Yeah,
so let's flip side this for a second. I am a pantser. That's what I do. But even for me, my goal this month, just because the other thing that I think we have to take into consideration is not all of us have the luxury to work in an environment where we can take 4 hours a day and just write and hash out things and do that. We work 8 hours a day at another job that is not as fun as this one.
Yes.
But then when you have a family, when you come home after work and you're tired, sometimes it's difficult to get back into the writing. So how do you do that? When do you find the time to do those kinds of things? And I think for me, it's when I have a moment, just any spare moment to pull out a pen and paper and write an idea down. My desk is covered in Post-it notes because sometimes that's the easiest for me to get a quote down or something. So I think National Novel Writing Month, because I'm going to say the whole thing, for me is, and we were laughing about this, but it's getting to my computer. It's opening my computer. It's going to Word instead of a delightful little game called Text Twist. It's pushing through those distractions and getting some quality stuff down on the paper so I can get back into a routine with writing. I think that's the easiest thing to fall out of or establish.
I agree.
Or, because it's easy to say, oh, I'll remember that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can do that this weekend.
Yeah.
When sometimes it behooves you to just grab a Post-it note or a piece of scrap paper and just jot it down so you don't forget and put it on your board or put it in your purse if you like those or wherever.
I do it on my phone.
Yeah,
Memo, the Memo app on my phone, or if I am at a desktop computer, then I will write a draft in my email account. I will write a draft and I have quotes in there. Like some of my, actually I need to clear that out and actually get those on into a Word doc or something because I've got a whole bunch of those. like a whole bunch of draft emails that are just quotes that I thought of that I liked, and like, oh, I got to use that in a novel somewhere.
And I think that's okay. I think that fits within the spirit of this month, because if that works for you, if that's the way that you write, if you like that, then you're writing your novel.
Yeah.
You're just not doing it in a chunk of time, but you're still writing, you're still thinking about it, it's still at the front of your mind, you're still living with your characters every day. And
yes. And that's the cool thing that I love about the spirit of this month. It is, well, there's two things that I love about it. One, it's the energy. It's the motivating factor. It's the fact that there is something spurring me saying, okay, because I'll admit, I have fallen out a little bit with not quite doing as much writing as I would like lately. It's easy to get bogged down in stuff. You know, I have 2 kids. I have a wife who I don't want to neglect. And
she appreciates that.
I hope she appreciates that.
Because his wife is amazing.
My wife is amazing. She is an absolutely lovely person, and she is very kind and considerate, great sense of humor, intelligent, and I cannot say enough fantastic things. She's a very loving person as well. I cannot say enough fantastic things about her.
She's a delight.
She is a delight.
And I like to give her hugs.
Yes. Samantha does like to give my wife hugs. And what does Samantha always say about my wife? Your wife is lovely. That's what she says all the time. She is lovely. I agree. That's why I married her. That's why I enjoy raising our 2 children with her. So, anyway.
Hi, Mrs. J. George.
Anyway, getting back to my point. You know, this month is motivating for me to get back down and really focus myself again, which I love about it. There is kind of an energy. If you're out on social media, if you're out on Twitter, there's a lot of people talking about it, and that's the other thing that I like. It's that community feeling, because I'm naturally an introvert. I am absolutely an introvert. But there's this communal energy that honestly for me is kind of like, it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of like the feeling of going to a concert where everybody's really into the band. And there's just that Samantha's waving her arms around again. There is just that communal feeling of energy that it's a shared experience. You know, I've had, just in the couple days that we are into November, I've had conversations and met like 4 new writers on Twitter just because of the fact that we were both talking about NaNoWriMo and we were tweeting our experiences and so on. So that's a pretty cool thing, especially for an introvert like me, where I can have that limited social interaction so that it's not overwhelming, but I still feel like I'm connected to something a little bit bigger than myself, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe meet a new critique partner or something like that. So I really love the spirit of this event. And honestly, I think that, you know, even with some of the things that we've said that weren't as much glowing praise of the event, I think even the organizers would agree with us. Give yourself permission to write something that isn't great.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 50,000 words is on the short end of what a publisher typically looks like. So if this is your first time getting into this, know that that's on the short end. They're typically looking for something, and depending on what genre, again, that you're going to hit, they're typically looking for something probably between 60 and 80.
Yeah.
So unless you are the lucky 1 in 1 million that can write a perfect novel in the first draft, P.S., we are all envious and jealous of you.
Yes.
This is a draft. This is your jump into your novel, into your characters, into your plot, and that's great. Because what you've done is you have your delightful people that you get to live with every day and write about and change their lives, and aka your characters, not just your community, because, I mean, you can do that too if you want, but, and then once you get to that end, which could be the end, if you're a plotter, it will be. If you're a pantser, who knows? It's a really great feeling to then be able to go back and do it again.
Yes.
So.
Yes, and I am. I have to take a shot before I say what I was going to say.
Like,
you talked
like
about
a shot?
Yeah, not a shot of alcohol. It's like 8 in the morning.
I thought this was going to be a crazy podcast.
No, I have to take a shot because, I mean, if you were a plotter, you might be able to do that perfect novel in 50,000 words at the end, because it'd be a little bit easier. Just saying. If you took the time to set it up ahead of time, you might have a little bit of easier time. Just saying.
Ja, how's that going for you? How's that going? What draft are you on?
Number 9. But in all seriousness, the plotting thing actually did help with that, because I was able to just go back and identify, okay, this is the weakness.
Oh, yeah.
Go back to my outline, fix this and that, and then it was easier to make updates, or at least it was easier for me than trying to write myself out of a corner.
It's all in the setup of your brain.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But,
and some people can be plantsers. Is that the word we decided to use?
Sure. Plantsers.
Plantsers.
Yeah.
Where you do a little bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody does
everybody does.
Everybody does that somewhat,
Yeah.
I was going to make another point about NaNoWriMo, but it totally left my head. But I will say this. If you have not written a novel before, if you are interested in writing a novel, please give it a try.
Yes.
This is the perfect time to get swept up in the momentum, to find out what process works for you, because maybe shooting for 50,000 words is going to work out well for you. Even if it's not perfect at the end of the month, maybe that approach is very good for you. But give yourself permission to write in the way that works for you. If shooting for 50,000 words in a month doesn't work for you, don't beat yourself up.
Right. Because ultimately, writing is fun, and you should get some kind of enjoyment, emotional attachment, whatever it is, out of writing. It also sucks.
Yes. It's work, but it's work that we love. But yes, it does suck
There are days when it sucks, and we're going to talk about that on another podcast, because that is a longer conversation.
It absolutely is.
But ultimately, have fun writing. Find enjoyment in it.
Yes.
Enjoy your characters. And just, if you need to set goals for yourself, set clear goals that make sense for you. If 500 words a day makes sense because you have the time to do it, do 500 words a day. If you're like me and just the act of getting to your computer and opening Word is a success for you, then be joyful that you got to your computer and open Word.
Yeah, if you're a plotter like me and I'm going to get one character sketch done today, then get that one character sketch done. You have made progress at that point. So
absolutely.
I guess this conversation is kind of discussion, kind of pep talk, kind of cheerleading for NaNoWriMo, even though we're not 100% on board with it. But I will say, check out their site.
Yes,
they do have a lot of, there's some great tips on there. There are some great pep talks on there.
There's some great videos on there.
There are some great videos on there. They're truth or dare videos. Check out the site. Find what works for you. If you want to do this, get involved and give it a try. You won't be perfect after your first draft. I'm on number 9.
I don't count.
Yeah. I do, because they're all different versions on my computer. But
things are saved under my computer as this new idea. Oh yeah, this might work. I think I like this. That's my saving method.
Yeah. But whatever works for you as a writer.
We
took
full
it back.
circle.
Yeah.
All right, so are we ready to plug a little bit?
I think we're ready to give a plug.
All right, I'm going to give the plug this week, and that is for Lithographs, a company in Boston that prints books on T-shirts or posters or bags, and it's the actual words from the book. I am wearing one right now. I did their grab bag, which is their sale where it's 50% off, but then they pick the shirt for you and send it to you. So I got the Odyssey.
And it is a really cool shirt. It's a very cool shirt. I'm actually a little jealous. It's a woman's shirt, though, so I couldn't wear it.
This is true, yeah, and it has a V-neck, which
which is not me.
Probably wouldn't
not
work.
me at
probably
all.
Wouldn't work. No. But it's and it has an image cut out in it. This is a trident with waves. It's really cool. You'll be able to see a picture of it online. But check out Lithographs. I've used them for other things. I use them as bridesmaids' gifts at my wedding, and they have more books out there than I can imagine. So it's really cool. www.lithographs. Check them out.
.com.
Thanks. I was just so excited.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I was just excited. I was just rolling.
You want to plug the site? You might want to tell people how to get there. Just saying.
Samantha the writer fail. So anyway, I give lithographs a plug.
Which plug?
I don't know.
Is it an air plug?
It is a spark plug.
Spark plug?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because I love their work. I love what they do. It's good quality. It is right up there with Sparkplug because the sparks make me happy.
Okay. As a reminder, check out our website. If you don't remember our rating scale, we're not going to go through it now.
No, we're not going to go through it now, but check it out.
It'll be up there.
With some beautiful hand-drawn images.
Yes.
Of our scale.
Yes. So, speaking of mythological stories, if you watched our first ever YouTube video, you know that I went to see Thor Ragnarok this weekend. Because, of course, this really fits with everything that you should know about me by now. I'm a dork who loves movies, and I grew up on comic books. So, Thor Ragnarok, right up my alley. And the trailers, and Samantha is making hand gestures now.
I caught a fuzzy.
She did catch a fuzzy. So, Thor Ragnarok, right up my alley, and the trailers for this movie were absolutely amazing. So I was very excited going into this movie. I was really looking forward to this one, more so than I have any movie in a long time.
Watch this trailer. Watch this trailer.
Yeah.
Watch this trailer.
I was
listening to the music of the trailer.
I was sitting at work yesterday annoying my coworkers by playing the trailer on my phone. So
I was not annoyed.
Well, other people were. Anyway, so we're not going to get into that. But
no, we're not.
Yes, so I saw Thor Ragnarok, and I liked it. It didn't quite live up to the trailers for me, but it was a good movie. It was an enjoyable movie. I will say that it didn't, I wouldn't go so far as to say they gave away all the best moments in the trailer, but they did give away a lot of them. So that was, in that sense, it was a little bit of a letdown just because, you know, there wasn't much to build on it beyond the trailer. I do feel like they went in a more comedic direction with the character in this, which I appreciated, but at times they took it a little too far, and it did kind of detract from the characters, I would say, a little bit. And also there was one, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but one very promising subplot that they kind of hinted at, but they never really fleshed out, which from the writing and storytelling perspective, you know, the writer in me always criticizes that with any movie I see. It just didn't, you could have done so much more with that, and it could have been so cool, and it could have made the connection between Thor and Hela, the villain, so much deeper and more meaningful. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. However, with that said, they do some really cool things in this movie. They do some very nice things with the relationship between Thor and Loki in particular. They do some interesting things with Loki, who for me has been the standout of the Thor movies. I will say it is definitely the best of the three Thor movies. I enjoyed it more than the other two, and I didn't even dislike the other two. This is just better than those.
You heard it here first.
Yes, best of the three Thor movies. It is a nice setup for the future of Thor the character and for Infinity War, which the Marvel movies have been building toward. And I do like that there was some misdirection in the trailers. They showed some things in the trailers, and then when you actually see the exact same scene in the movie, there's a detail that's different because they didn't want to give away the spoilers in the trailer, which I thought was pretty cool. There also are some really nice Easter eggs in there for fans. Ares kind of makes a cameo, and Beta Ray Bill, who I marked out when I saw Beta Ray Bill in there, and nobody except Comic Geeks is going to have any idea who Beta Ray Bill is, but it was really cool for Comic Geeks.
Shout out to our Comic Geeks.
Yes. My peeps. So,
his peeps.
Yeah. And because, again, this ties into everything that you guys should know about me by now, of course I know where it ranks in the overall order of Marvel movies. It is upper middle for me. It is number 6 of the Marvel movies. Obviously that means
six.
Obviously that means I have to list what the top 5 were, so I'm going to do this quickly. Number 5, Doctor Strange. I really enjoyed that movie. That movie was so great.
So good.
Doctor Strange did for me what Iron Man also did for me, the movie, because Doctor Strange, Iron Man are not characters that I love in the comics. I didn't grow up reading them. I was never a big fan. I like them more after seeing the movies in both cases. And that is also a testament to Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr., obviously. So they did good things with the characters. Anyway, Doctor Strange, number 5. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy. Fantastic movie. I love that movie. I'm going to run through these quickly. Number 3 for me was Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It struck a nice balance for me between the things I love about Captain America, several of which just would not fly with modern movie audiences. They wouldn't appeal, with what would fly with a modern movie audience. Number 2 was Captain America: The First Avenger. Have I mentioned that I love Captain America? He is my number 2 superhero, so I really love Captain America. This was a fantastic origin story film for Captain America, and the first Avengers movie is my number 1 of all the Marvel movies. It really did. The payoff was worth it. After all the build-up to get to that point, the payoff was worth it. And I'm really hoping that when Infinity War comes out, we get that same kind of experience where all the build-up really meets in the payoff. So, anyway, Thor Ragnarok, good movie. Not an amazing movie, but upper middle of the Marvel movies. I am not disappointed that I saw it. It didn't quite live up to expectations from the trailers, but I did really enjoy it. So,
well, you heard it here on Shameless Plugs podcast. John J. George.
Yes.
That writer guy.
Yeah. That writer guy. Ja. Yeah, whatever you want to call me.
Enjoyed Thor.
Yes.
This movie that just came out.
Yes, Thor Ragnarok.
Thank you. Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
6th. Behind some quality stuff.
Yes.
So, I mean, it would have had to be, like, blow your socks off, I think, to move into the top 5.
Yes, because I really liked all of those top 5. So.
Cool. Well, does that bring us to the end of...
That brings us to the end of episode 4.
Episode 4?
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you enjoy NaNoWriMo.
Yes. And let us know your thoughts on NaNoWriMo. Let us know what's working for you. Let us know what's not working for you. Or if you have some crazy thing that makes you write, let us know, because those things are fun, and we'd love to have a conversation about it.
We'd absolutely love to.
So, shamelessplugs@gmail.com. You can reach us there. Find us at Plugs Podcast on Twitter, or Shameless Plugs Podcast on Facebook. And as always, www.shamelessplugspodcast.com.